Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your attendance on this morning's webinar. My name is Daniel Keane, and I'll be spending the next 45 minutes with you discussing BTC software, integrating accounting and tax software, and how we believe that we can help you increase efficiency and profitability through our software. So without further ado, we're going to jump straight into the presentation. We've got a fairly short presentation, and then we're going to actually be looking at a demonstration of the software as well, and then a few slides at the end to discuss a few bits of information around the best of breed and how integrated software is really going to help aid your practice in terms of profitability and efficiency. So that's a picture of me there. I've been told that I look like a kind of a budget Ed Sheeran with very rosy cheeks. I won't go into too much detail about this. I've worked for BTC Software for the past 3 years now, helping businesses help maximize efficiency through software. So that's businesses and accountants in practice, but also accountants in business as well, with the introduction of our MTD products specifically, and also our corporate solution as well for businesses filing their own tax returns. I have got my guilty pleasure of Only Fools and Horses, so I'm looking very much forward to Christmas and watching lots of Only Fools and Horses, and then I'm not going to name my hidden talent there either. But as we move on, so we'll go into the agenda. So we're going to take a little bit we're going to take some time into looking into BTC software in terms of who we are as a company, our mission statement, the types of services that we offer, what we offer around those services. So we'll be looking at support, we'll be looking at training, renewals, account management, all those good bits and pieces. We'll be looking at a product demonstration, and then we'll have some time at the end for any questions that you do have. So if you do have any questions, by all means, do use that GoToMeeting panel on the right-hand side of your screen, as a few of you have done already, and we'll get to those questions at the end. So a little bit about BTC software. We were initially founded in 1999. We specialized in corporation tax. And then following that, we added our self-assessment and accounts production solutions and included practice management with that, which kind of formed the final piece of the puzzle in terms of one integrated solution that covers all accountants' compliance needs. So we have around 2,500 practices that are reliant on our software, and 1,000 accountants in business using BTC software, which, as I briefly mentioned earlier, has massively increased with the introduction of MTD VAT returns. And we'll also probably see that as well with the MTD for business that's around the corner. So that equates to around 15,000 users of our software. We're all UK based, including our support and development team. And we're very proud of the fact that we're multi-award winning, and we picked up 3 awards last year for Account Software of the Year, Solution Suite, and Tax Software of the Year as well. Unfortunately, the awards were slightly delayed. I think this year they were supposed to be September, but hopefully we can pick up some more Accounting Web Software Excellence Awards this year as well. And I believe voting is now open as well. So this is kind of a split between the practices and accountants in business. So it's about a 70-30 split, and you can see the exact numbers there on the right-hand side of this very fancy-looking pie chart. And this is our mission statement. So our mission is to develop feature-rich, affordable software that simplifies accounting professionals' lives and makes their practices more productive and more profitable, which is kind of really the key theme around today's webinar. So the types of clients that we work with, these are just some of the clients. We've got Lambert Chapman, PKF Francis Clark, RSM, and Shipley's. And we're going to jump straight into a demonstration now. So we're going to be looking specifically at 4 examples of how we can help you increase efficiency through our software. Now, I'm not going to kind of bog down, or I'm not going to drown you in too much data, but I'm going to take a look at 4 specific features of the software and how that's really benefited our clients. So we've kind of taken an average of time saved when speaking to prospects that have turned into customers of BTC software, and we've kind of collated all of this information and worked out kind of average time savings of each of these different examples. So the first one that we're going to look at is the key dates functionality. The second is going to be the online bookkeeping. The third is going to be posting the corporation tax back to the accounts automatically. And then also the integration that we have, the 2-way integration that we have with the bookkeeping. So being able to import, but then also export all the journals and the corporation tax figure as well. And then the last one that we're going to look at is global templates. So we'll look at global templates for covering letters, and then also your client letters, so your engagement letters, tax questionnaires, payment reminders, all of that good stuff. So I'm just going to tab out of my presentation and open up the software at the bottom. So we are, as I mentioned, going to be looking at 4 main features. So it's kind of like a teaser into BTC software. If you are interested in a full demonstration, by all means, that's something that we would be delighted to organise with you. And we've got various videos on our YouTube channel as well that you can check out if you want to look at specific style videos, which I'll talk about a bit later on in the webinar. So we're going to continue to the Solution Center here and start by logging in. Now, the software is primarily desktop based. We do offer a hosted cloud solution, and that we can host your data in the cloud. So rather than the data being stored on your C drive, instead we host it into the cloud so that you can access the software from anywhere, providing we've got that VPN installed onto your machine. Now, I suppose the best place to start in terms of just giving you an overview in terms of what we're looking at here is there's actually 2 views within the software. So we've got the individual view, which is just sitting behind here, which is going to give us a list of all of our sole traders and any individuals that are associated with our organizations. Examples could be directors, partners, shareholders. And then the other view that we've got, which I'm just selecting here, is the organizational view. And that's where we'll find limited companies, partnerships, trusts, and charities as well. So obviously we've had a lot of new customers come over for charities. So if that's a requirement of yours as well, we've got 5 charity templates as well. So if you are looking for a solution for charity accounts and tax compliance, then we've definitely got a solution for you as well. Now, what we would do typically, an accountant using our software would select the client that they're working on from the right-hand side, and then we have a list of tabs that run along the top here. Now, whether you're in the individual view or the organizational, you can see you've got the exact same set of tabs that run along the top. And all the information that are falling under these tabs is going to be pertaining to the client that you select from the right-hand side. So you can see I'm selecting Smith Software. So all the information falling under the Details tab, which is my first tab, is going to be pertaining to Smith Software. So we are going to be looking at 4 specific features. So I'm not going to go through all of these different tabs today. We're just going to go over the ones that we've collated data on and that we believe is going to increase efficiency in comparison with other software that you may be using. So the first example that I'm going to talk about is key dates. So what we have here is we have auto-populated key dates pertaining to the client that you've selected. And it's important to mention that these dates don't lie dormant within the software. So they're derived directly from the Details tab, where you've got dates like year first financial year end, VAT period end, which can be linked to Companies House directly. So you can use this Companies House search to search for a company name or number. So for example, I can put in BTC software, and then I can populate that information held within Companies House directly into the Details page. And that will correlate with the Key Dates tab that we've got here. Now, what we found with the prospects and the clients of ours that we spoke with is that rather than having to jump onto Companies House or rather having to jump onto HMRC and check these key dates, they can select the client that they're working on, and just with a click of a button, they go straight into key dates and they can find those important dates straight away. So they're not having to leave the software, they're not having to go and search things externally. They can just find it with a click of a button. And these are really the important dates that you want to be focusing on. Financial year ends, the date the accounts are due, VAT period ends are really important as well. And these are updating in the background as well. So these are constantly going to be the new dates that you've got, as opposed to being ones that are maybe expired or static. So that's the first example. We found that saved on average 2 minutes per client that have been using our software. And that's 2 minutes rather than having to go externally outside of the software. They're jumping straight into the key dates tab and they're finding the dates straight away from within here. So that's the first example, a nice and simple one to start us off. Now, the second one is going to be the integration that we've got with the bookkeeping packages. So to do that, I'm going to jump straight into the Task, Tax and Accounts Production Returns tab. And instead of actually opening up a already used example here, I'm actually going to show you straight from the beginning. I'm going to start from scratch. So what we're going to do is this Task, Tax and Accounts Production Returns tab that I'm on at the moment is really the bread and butter tab. It's the main tab in terms of getting to all of the compliance. The best way to kind of summarize the top tabs that we've got there is the first 6 hold key client information. Appointments and tasks is all about tracking deadlines and reminders. Tax accounts production returns is obviously where you get to all of the compliance. And anything to the right-hand side is further practice management features, which includes reports and letters, which we're going to look at in a second. Now you can see I've got a set of year-end accounts that are complete here. I'm going to be using that set of accounts as a prior year, and I'm going to be rolling forward from that set of accounts. So I can actually just do that with a click of a button. If I select the set of year-end accounts, that's my prior year, I could just click this button here, roll forward task. And that's going to automatically open up a set of year-end accounts. It's going to automatically create the correct accounting period, so it's selected the right one for us, and then we can just view and edit. And that will take us into a year-end account summary, which is going to summarize all the useful information found within the Details tab, but then importantly allow us to choose the correct accounts production template. Now selecting the right one there for me, which is the FRS 102-1A. And if I wanted to include accountants reports, I can. And then if I open up the year-end accounts, that's going to take me straight into the year-end accounts module. Now there are 4 online bookkeeping packages that we do integrate with. The example that I'm going to be using in today's webinar is Xero. But if you are interested in Free Agent, QuickBooks, or Reckon One, and the integration that we have with those, then definitely check out our YouTube channels. We've got examples of all of those. So we got a nice message here saying, are we sure we want to roll forward the trial balance? To which I'll click yes. And then we're presented with a cover page for the set of accounts. And over in this table of contents on this left-hand side, we've got the different pages of the report. And if I drop down to extended trial balance, and let's just move this editing panel over to the right-hand side, you can see where I've rolled forward for my prior year. I've got my prior year comparatives entered into column J. So it's now up for me to get my original trial balance column filled out. Now there's a few ways that you can do this within BTC software, and that you can just manually key the figures directly in. You can produce journals. We've got an incomplete records module, which is really perfect for sole traders and contractors. If they come into your office with a shoebox of receipts, we do know that does happen. You can add those receipts directly into here and then export that into the extended trial balance. Now that's not really going to be the most efficient and time-saving way of doing things. So the best way to do it is to use the trial balance import. So with the trial balance import, we've got various different methods that we can import from a spreadsheet or any of these different bookkeeping packages. As I mentioned, the 4 online ones that we do integrate with are Free Agent, QuickBooks Online, Reckon One, and Xero. Now we're going to be using Xero as an example. All of the others you're going to be looking for a CSV file, but with these online bookkeeping packages, we've actually got the option to download. And if I hit download, what that's going to allow me to do is actually log into the bookkeeping package directly from within BTC software. Now, after I've typed in the longest password in the world, hopefully it should let us in, and then we can allow access for 30 minutes. So what that's essentially doing is creating a token so that we don't have to keep logging in every different action that we take throughout the software. Now you can see here I've got my mapping screen. So this kind of works in like a traffic light system. What happens here is you've got the Xero codes on this left-hand side in the descriptions, and the software is mapping those codes and descriptions to BTC Software's ledgers and accounts. So all of these values that you can see here are going to go into the correct boxes when we're ready to import. So it's successfully mapped the ones in green, either where we've corrected them or assigned them in prior years, or where the software's been intelligent enough to pick them up and decide that those are the correct ledgers and accounts. We'd also see when you import for the first time some amber boxes in that it would guess the ledgers and accounts, and then you can tick them off if they're correct. And then the ones in red, it's really, really nice and simple. We're just choosing from the drop down. So for example, where we've got legal and professional fees, we're just going to drop into administrative expenses and then just find our appropriate account, in this case, other legal and professional costs. So I'm just going to map these ones off that I've got here. I think that I've got 2 more to go. And then once I've mapped all of these, it gives me the option to import. Now, if I roll forward into the following year and don't introduce any new IDs or new descriptions, when I import from Xero, when I log in, I'll get a complete green trial balance mapping screen like this. So you're not having to map every year, you only map within the first year, and then after that it rolls forward, which is a huge, huge time saver. If you can imagine you're manually keying each of those figures into the extended trial balance, if you're already using Xero, why not just log into Xero, import with a click of a button? It's going to save you so much time. Now, what we could do here is just click import. It's going to give us a nice notification saying, are we sure we want to import? To which we can say yes. And then all these values are going to go into the correct boxes within our ETB. There you go. So you can see there's my figures in column C. Now, obviously, at the moment, I've got lots of boxes here with no numerical value, and there is a tool to combat that up at the top here called Collapse Empty Data. And what that's going to do is it's going to get rid of those unused cells and give us a much nicer view of the extended trial balance. So that's one side of the integration that we've got with the online bookkeeping package. We're then going to look at the second side, but before we do that, we're going to look at how we can get the corporation tax provision into the extended trial balance automatically from the corporation tax module. So we're just going to, as this is the first year for the set of accounts, I know we did have that prior year, but it wasn't submitted. So we are adding the associated individual that's going to be signing off the accounts. And we're going to simply choose the option up at the top here to check the accounts and generate the IXBRL file. So what that's going to do is it's going to look for any warning or error messages found within the software to prevent you from going wrong. The software is not going to allow you to submit incorrect accounts or tax returns. And we're going to override these particular warnings here for the sake of the demo. The difference between the two, and they kind of act as safety net features so that you can't go wrong, is a warning is something that you can override as it won't affect the final submission, whereas an error will affect the final submission, so you'd have to rectify it before you can move on. An example of a warning might be if I go to remove all of the page numbering. It's a good example of a warning as it's not going to affect the accounts when submitted to Companies House, but it will affect the aesthetics of the report when you send it to the client. An example of an error might be my extended trial balance doesn't balance. That's a very simple example. So we get this nice message here to say the year-end accounts were checked and that all-important IXBRL file generated successfully. So we can move straight onto the corporation tax return. So what we do is just choose the small x to come out of here. We open up the CT return, which is going to open up a summary similar to this one. The reason we've got two is one's going to go to Companies House, so you can submit to Companies House directly from the software. And then the other one, of course, is going to go to HMRC. So if we open up the CT Comp and CT 600, you'll see the beginning of the integration that we've got between the accounts and the tax return module, and that all the figures that we've added into the extended trial balance now will pull through into the corporation tax return, into our first page within the table of contents, which you can see is our add backs and deductions. And if I go to corporation tax calculation, you can see there we go, it's already worked out the corporation tax chargeable figure. And there's many different options. We've got a very advanced template here within the corporation tax module. So you can do many different supplementary schedules, including capital gains, capital allowances, R&D, specialist CT600 forms in terms of loans to participators, directors, charities, all different types of bits and pieces. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail on these. Again, this particular webinar is just to kind of highlight features that are going to save you time. But if you are interested in those, then yeah, just drop us a note and we can demonstrate those for you. Now, this being a first year corporation tax return, I'm just going to add in these first two details. And then what we can do now is by hitting this check, return and generate IXBRL button, it's going to post this corporation tax chargeable figure back to the account automatically. So it's also, as well as posting it into the extended trial balance, it's also going to post it back as a journal. Now, there's a few reasons why this is really important. There's not that many software programs out there that are able to post this figure back to the accounts directly from the corporation tax return. A lot of software packages are going to ask you to retype this figure back out into the accounts production module, which is obviously, that's going to waste time for one, and it's also going to increase manual error. So by working everything out in the corporation tax return and literally just clicking the button, check return and generate IXBRL file, as well as posting this into the extended trial balance, we're not having to manually key that in. Then we're going to look at the two-way integration that we've got with the bookkeeping package. So any journals, including the corporation tax chargeable figure that's posted back to the accounts, we can actually post back to the bookkeeping package. So again, there's many different software programs that are out there that will allow you to log into the bookkeeping package, but how many are there that allow you to post back to the bookkeeping package? So it's nice having an integration where you're able to log in and import, but the true integration is being able to export as well. So we're going to look at that. So we've got this nice message here to say the corporation tax return was checked and the IXP alpha generated successfully. So we simply just come out of here and then open up the year-end accounts. And if we go to extended trial balance, what we'll see within column E, which is our corporation tax provision, you can see there's our figure automatically posted, and there it is as a journal. Now we might want to get this back out into the bookkeeping package, and it's very, very simple to do. All we do is go to print and journal export. And actually, I'll just show you where, before I do that, I'll just show you where a journal is within the software. So we've got the journals tab up at the top here, and I can simply add in journals by just choosing from the drop down. I've got ledgers, accounts, debits, and credits. And actually, you'll see here's our corporation tax provision, and we can map it up with 0. So it's bringing in the 0 codes where we've imported. And if I go to print and journal export, it'll actually recognize that we've imported from 0 already, and it'll choose it automatically from the drop down, as you'll see here. And if we upload, it may just prompt me to log in again if I'm doing the export. So I've selected upload. It's then going to give me the option to update. Here we go. So I can update the existing draft account, so I can create a new set of journals. In this case, we're going to update, and then it's going to give us a nice message to say that that journal is now successfully uploaded into 0. Now, I haven't even got 0 open anywhere on my screen, but if I want to view 0, it's already posted at this point. I can click yes. It'll open up 0 in my default web browser. I can log in, and it's, as I said, it's already posted, so it's going to take me straight into the editing manual, as you can see here, and it's actually going to show me the date at the bottom here. So it's going to give me the date and the timestamp of when that was produced. So it's received through the 0 API from BTCSoftware Accounts Production. So that's the integration that we've got between the accounts and the tax modules and the bookkeeping packages. So you can see within one full smooth movement, we can get everything done, and we can update the accounts in 0 as well as the accounts in BTCSoftware so that they both match, all within the same program. Now, the example 4 that we're going to be taking a look at in terms of time saving and increasing efficiency is through our global templates. So this is part of the practice management features that are found within the software. So if we go to reports and letters, we've got a tab here where we can create a report or a letter. But in terms of editing them, there's so many different customizable tools that we can choose and use. So if I go to administration up at the top and drop into report and template design. So the first option that we've got there is the accounts production templates. Now this is, we're not going to be looking at that today, but this is specifically where you're taking an existing template, for example, an FRS 102.1a, and you want to make changes on a global scale. So there's been many of our accountants have done that for farming templates. They've created these kind of customized templates to include their own descriptions or their own notes to the accounts, and publish that so that they can use that for more than one client, or they can select that template every time they want to use it. So that's what the first option is that we've got there. The second option that we've got is the covering letters. So this is what we're going to be showing you here. So if you're using a software program where you're maybe not paying for the practice management, as the practice management is costing you an arm and a leg, or you're using a very simple software that doesn't actually include practice management, this is going to be really, really important for you. So this is where, instead of having to update Word documents with, or publisher documents with dates and times and email addresses, what we're actually doing is we're creating a global template so that it's going to bring in all of that information automatically whenever we produce one of these reports. So these are the covering letters for each of your different reports, so your tax return reports and your year-end accounts. Now, the example that we're looking at here is an individual tax return covering letter. So I can edit this particular template. Now, again, this is being saved as a global template. So it's one template per remit. It's going to be used for every individual tax return client, unless I select a personal template in which this particular client might want specific information to be included on the covering letter. In which case I can select the personal template and then I can include those database tags to cover the information that the client wants to see. Now, the first thing that you probably want to do here is introduce a PDF background template. So this is something that our support team can help you out with. I'll show you an example of the one that I'm using here. And what we're really talking about is including a letterhead and a footer. And then if you want to, you can include a signature in here. And in between this spacing that we've got between the signature and the header, we'll have this text. So what we can do is we can select a client, select a paragraph. At the moment, we're selecting the client name and address, which is this highlighted one here. And we've got a bit of space down here to introduce some database tags. So general database tags are going to bring in an email, a name, a date, an address, for example. But what we might want to do, and this is the key functionality that we've got here with the global templates, which is really going to save you time, is actually being able to bring in the tax return information. So it's going to save your client a lot of time. Obviously, the client is going to look through that report. It's obviously going to be important, but sometimes the client might just want to see the key information on that covering letter at first glance, and you can bring that in directly from the database. So you've got all of these different tax return database tags. So you might want to include the pension income, you might want to include the total first payment, you might want to include something simple like the IR mark, for example, the partnership profit. So let's say this is a partner of a partnership, and I want to include the partnership profit on the covering letter. I would simply add that database tag in, so that now every time I produce my individual tax return covering letter, if this partnership profit is going to appear in that box in there. So that's one thing that we've got that you can have a play around with the covering letters. Another key piece of functionality that we've got with the global templates is also being able to edit and add client letters. So some examples might be tax questionnaires, payment reminder letters, engagement letters is a popular one. And you can see I've created some sort of gobbledygook examples here. I've added a birthday invite. I might want to request client information, which can actually also be done through the COSEC module as well, which is another module that we do offer with BTC software. But let's say as an example, I want to send off an engagement letter to my client. Now, the engagement letter is a template that we've already got in here for you to use. And if I edit the report template, what we'll see is, again, it's being saved as a global template. So it's used across the board so that we're able to create one of these engagement letters with a click of a button. And it's going to bring in this information here. So in this case, your company, the address, the date, and then the client's details. And then we'll see database tags at the bottom as well, include your company name and then the client's details and the date. Again, we can edit the template and add in database tags to include relevant information. And what you might want to do here, and what a lot of our clients have done, if they've got existing engagement letters that they want to continue using with their clients, is they can just copy and paste the body of their engagement letter, keep the database tags at the top and at the bottom, so it's bringing in that information every time, and then just paste it directly over the body of ours. Within 5 minutes, you've got yourselves a global template of an engagement letter, and rather than having to go in and change these dates manually within a Word document or a publisher document, you're able to just create one of these at a click of a button. And as well as that, if you want to create them all at once, you can go to Client Reports and Bulk Report Creation. You can take that engagement letter, you can add all of your clients across to the right-hand side, dedupe the ones that you don't want, and then create an engagement letter for every single one of those clients at once, saving you tons and tons of time. So that's going to draw a close to the demonstration of 4 examples of how our software can increase efficiency. Now, obviously, I've only touched on a tiny area of the complete suite. I've just covered 4 examples here, but there are many, many different examples of how our software can increase time and efficiency. If you are kind of interested or do have any other questions on any other areas of the software, for example, self-assessment, company secretarial, charity accounts, BTC Hub for VAT returns, there's so much stuff. Know your client for AML. then do get in contact with us and we can arrange a demonstration with you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to tab back into my presentation. I've got a couple of slides to finish off on, and then we should have some time for some questions and answers at the end. So this is some of the integration that we've spoken about. So you've got Xero, you've got My DocSafe, you've got Sage, Free Agent, QuickBooks, Reckon One, and obviously DocuSign. So the ones that I haven't discussed today are My DocSafe and DocuSign, but the integration that you've got with those are their client portals. So when you go to send off a document directly from our software, whether it's a year-end accounts report or a engagement letter, for example, you're actually able to send that directly from our software through a secure portal. So you're not emailing it, it can't be intercepted, all in line with GDPR. Then what would happen is your client would receive an email notification that you sent them a document, either through My DocSafe or DocuSign. Within that email, there'll be a link to sign into their account. They can pick up the document remotely on their phone, laptop, tablet through the client library, electronically sign it off, and then send it straight back to you. And then again, you're notified that you've sent that document's been sent back and it's been signed. So that's the integration that we got with both of those. And if you're looking for a demonstration, again, we've got videos covering each of those on our YouTube channel. And this is the solution suite. So this is what's covered within each of the variants of the solution suite, whether it's a solution suite light for small startup practices or larger practices that have maybe got a existing contract with a larger software and they kind of want to look at a trial but be able to submit. So you've got that, you've got the medium package, which is for sort of medium-sized practices, and then you've got the solution suite professional, which is unrestricted in terms of tax filing, year-end accounts filing, and client numbers. So you've got tax submission. We cover corporation tax, individual, partnership, and trust tax returns. We've got the year-end accounts production, which includes charity accounts, so you're able to import a trial balance using the APIs that we've seen. You've got company's house filing directly from the software, and then practice management, which we've only really briefly touched on today, which includes the global templates, but you've got report designers, document management, e-filing, and then obviously customization of client data fields as well. There are some add-on modules on the right-hand side there, which you've got company secretarial, you've got the cloud access. As I said, the software comes in two variants, either the desktop version where we can put it onto your server or just onto your C drive, or we've got the cloud version, so we can host the data in the cloud. And then also the MTD for VAT bridging software. So we've got a version for you for submitting VAT returns on behalf of your clients, or we've got a smaller version for your clients who want to submit their own VAT returns. So this is what we provide in terms of our services. So around the actual modules themselves, we've got installation guidance, we've got data migration, we've got full telephone product support, product training, we've got designated account management, and flexible renewal terms. So with the installation guidance, what we're going to be doing is helping you get set up, including setting you up with the VPNs if you're using our cloud software. The data migration, we're able to transfer all of the standing client data from your existing software. So all the names, addresses, UTRs, telephone numbers, all of that good stuff can come across. You've got full telephone support from Monday to Friday between 9 and 5:30. And then actually we've got email coverage outside of the standard business hours as well. We offer product training to new customers, designated account management to answer all of your first line questions. And then obviously we don't lock you in to any difficult to exit 90-day contracts like some of the other providers do that we know of. Now, I'm just going to quickly run through some issues with using multiple applications. Now, the first one that I've got there is wasted productivity. So whilst you could be tracking your next task that you're stuck with, maybe entering data into each of the different applications that your company's using, you're going to be wasting hours of time by updating each of the different modules that you're using. So we're really talking about the best of breed approach here, as opposed to using integrated software like BTCSoftware. So wasted hours of work is obviously going to make employees too tired to remain productive, and that's obviously they're probably not going to be able to handle their next responsibilities properly. The next one that I've listed is insufficient data management. So we're talking about storing data in different places. It's not only dangerous in terms of not being able to update all of your different applications, making sure they're all up to date. It also makes it impossible for your company to analyze it properly. and gathering and managing data manually from several different systems is going to give you incomplete results. I've also listed unnecessary complexity. I think that's an important one. Using a sort of a decentralized pool of resources offers no interface form from one system to the other. It's going to create complexity and obviously is prone to error. Once the software's purchased, a lot of integration and maintenance is going to be required, whether that's you doing that yourself or an IT team. On the other hand, the time that can be used for growth of the business, it's really wasted on the maintenance and costs of different software. And then the last point that I've listed there for issues with using multiple applications instead of using integrated software is actually duplication of work. So the problem of duplication of effort, it wastes time and resources, and it's especially prevalent obviously when using multiple applications. Now here's some benefits of using integrated software. So we've looked at some of the pitfalls of looking at the best of breed approach, and we're now going to look at some of the benefits of using the integrated software, so the new approach that accountants are moving towards. So the first one's obviously going to be important, and it's going to be the probably the most obvious: cost savings. So after having your systems integrated, costs reduction can be met at every phase of all business processes. The greatest increase in your profits is a result of making better, more accurate decisions, and thanks to automating some of the tasks that you and your team can focus on. New customers and developing new skills is going to allow your business to grow. It's really important in terms of using the best of breed approach. When nothing's integrated, it's going to be very expensive to maintain and run each of these different programs, as opposed to using a one solution that's going to cover everything. So all of your compliance needs, but the practice management as well. Now, the next one is going to be process efficiency. So when it comes to productivity, you can benefit from integrating your systems in two different ways. Automating various processes such as trial balance import, which we've looked at today, online bookkeeping packages, again, of processing figures back to the accounts production is going to enable you to boost the productivity of your employees. So actually you can finally focus on actual tasks instead of entering manually into the areas of the tax return or the extended trial balance, and removing some of these mundane time-wasting tasks that are going to introduce automation. So you'll have a kind of a great influence on the job satisfaction of both you and your team. The next one that I've listed is to limit new hires. You can now work on the quality of your team and not actually on its size. Having your systems integrated and automated is going to help you reduce the necessity, there we go, of hiring new employees, and along with your already existing team of skilled and experienced specialists to focus on more important, challenging tasks that are going to help your company grow and evolve. And then the last point that I've listed there is improved visibility. So obviously using one solution, you're not having to look at multiple different solutions. You're not looking at outdated information, and that can have serious consequences. So when your reports, or when you report on key deadlines, tasks, appointments, and it's not integrated, it's going to take hours to acquire this information manually, which is still even then not necessarily going to be accurate. So with some companies some companies stop collecting and analyzing their data in order to focus on less time-consuming tasks, which is going to harm their business at the same time. Constant data connectivity ensures that all of your employees are well informed and have fast access to proper data, which can be accessed from anywhere at any time. Systems integration minimizes risks and enables you to make critical decisions based on accurate information and not your gut instinct. So there we go. That draws a conclusion to this afternoon's webinar. If you are interested, you can try it out yourself, either via a one-to-one demo, which I've mentioned. You can actually view our software via the free trial, which is available on the website. We've got a 7-day free trial, no obligation free trial, and that you can access the full solution suite. The only restriction obviously being on the filing. And then we've got our YouTube channel as well, which lists out all of our specific videos, and also pre-recorded webinars like this one. So this one may be uploaded onto the YouTube channel as well. Now, if you do have any questions, please do use the GoToMeeting panel on the right-hand side of your screen. Or the other option is you can contact either myself looking very ginger on a golf course there. Tim, who's looking very happy in New York, and Tom, who's looking very smiley in Reykjavik, on the telephone number there, or we can also all be emailed at sales@BTC Software. So I'm just going to come off for 2 minutes now, just to allow any questions, and then I'll join you in a couple of minutes' time and we can get through some of those questions. So thank you once again for your attendance, and I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Thanks very much. Okay, thank you for all of your questions. I've got quite a number of questions here, so I'm going to see if I can get through them all, but if I don't get through them all, then I will just email you with the answers to your questions. So we've had a couple of questions on pricing. We do have links to our pricing on our website. For those who are asking specifically, we've had quite a few asking how much the unrestricted package is. So it's circa £120 a month plus VAT. But you can speak to our sales team, and we can discuss each of the different levels of pricing with you. We've had a couple of questions in relation to the functionality of the trial, if charity accounts is included, if there's a trial for MTD. So charity accounts is included in the Solution Suite trial. MTD isn't, but we have got various webinars and YouTube videos that we can send across to you. There's a couple on system requirements. So we do have, or our software is sitting kind of on a Microsoft Access database. So that's the kind of the engine that we use. So you would have to use a Windows machine, but it does actually work on Mac as well if you run a system like Parallels, which a few of our clients use Parallels to run our software on. We've also had a question here. Can we do all of the computation and submit directly to Companies House and HMRC? Yep, absolutely. So you can submit directly to HMRC and Companies House from our software. So when submitting to Companies House, you'd of course be submitting the filleted set of accounts, but there is actually an option as well. There's a drop down if you want to send the full accounts. And then for the tax return, yeah, you can submit self-assessment and corporation tax returns directly to HMRC from our software. We've also had questions in terms of being able to import trial balances from prior year data in terms of moving over from other software packages to BTC software. So we can take across all the standing client data, all the names, addresses, UTRs, telephone numbers. In terms of the trial balances, you would have to import a trial balance into the prior year, and then from there you can roll it forward. We've also got a couple of questions on backing up the database. If you're using the cloud version, then of course it's automatically backed up. You don't have to worry about backing up the software as it's stored into UK-based Amazon data centers. But if you are using your server, or if you're using just the desktop version, then you can actually back it up onto a hard drive. So you can locate the database folder and then back it up onto an external hard drive. And then finally, the last few questions that I'll just address are all the same in terms of, is there going to be a recording available? Yeah, there should be. So we'll send out a recording to you. So if you did miss some of the early bits, or if you missed the end, or whichever, then yeah, we can send out a full recording to you. So we'll drop everyone across an email to thank you for your attendance, and then we'll include that link to the pre-recording. Okay, so thank you everyone for attending this afternoon's BTC Software, or this morning's BTC Software and IFA webinar. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and if you do have any questions, then yes, the details are on screen. Thank you very much, and hopefully see you on the next one.